SHTF happens right now. Do you have a vehicle that's ready to go and get you out of Dodge in case of an emergency? In this video, we're going to talk about some gear and equipment you might want to make sure your bug-out vehicle, no matter if it's a car, a truck, or an SUV, is ready to rock for when SHTF happens. Hey everybody, it's Magic Prepper, and today we're going to talk about a bug-out vehicle for SHTF. This is something that everybody needs to at least have in the back of their head for if you ever have to evacuate for an emergency or something much worse during a disaster. Your vehicle should be ready to go, and in many ways this truck here behind me is ready to go on a daily basis, not just for the inevitable bug-out scenario we all like to talk about in the preparedness community. However, if you're worried about needing to bug out and you want to make sure your vehicle is up to par to be able to do so, then hit the subscribe button below, because we're going to keep talking about awesome topics like this one here on this channel to try to get everybody as best prepared as humanly possible so there's that many less marauders. Now, I do want to say a special thank you to Grayman Tactical. They reached out to me and wanted to do a little bit of work together, and they have some awesome bug out vehicle products that we're going to check out in the truck here later on. But we're going to start this whole process from tip to butt to make sure everybody has a good time and that you guys get to see how my bug out vehicle is set up. Now, one thing you're going to notice is that there's no water storage or giant piles or cases of food in the bed of the truck or anything like that right now. The reason behind that is because all of those items are going to be loaded last minute during any kind of an evacuation due to the fact that I'm not going to store water or food in the bed of my truck. It is utilized often as we have some property and we like to go buy things like furniture from time to time, and we just need the bed of a truck to be a bed of a truck. But in a bug out scenario, you're going to find out that you're going to load the crap out of whatever vehicle you have with water and food. And if I have to remind you of that or even have to mention it, then I'm not doing a good job here on the channel and I need to talk about it more. But I wanted to mention that ahead of time before everybody here likes to say, well, I guess Magic Prepper is going to die from dehydration and starvation before anything happens anyway. Not the case, but make sure you have ways to store water in your vehicle. The water bricks that they use for small spaces are perfect, especially if you only have a car. And if you want to make sure you have plenty of food, buckets full of rice and beans go a long ways, but also freeze-dried buckets are a great way to go, because if you're on the road and you're camping, just adding water sometimes is the best thing you can possibly do in the sense of being able to prepare food. So let's get into the truck, see what's going on. Let's talk about the kind of gear and equipment that I have here for the bug out vehicle, and hopefully you get some better ideas about how you can be better prepared for your vehicle as well. All right, so first and foremost, it's a 2014 Toyota Tundra SR5 TRD. Now, I know you guys were gonna ask about it at some point anyway, and yes, this is a truck I chose. No, I'm not rich. This is not a 2021. Like I said, it's 7 years old, but it does a great job, and it got a great deal on it. Now, what I'm gonna say is that Toyota has a track record of reliability. That's one of the reasons why I chose the Tundra. However, if you got an F-150 or a Dodge or whatever you got, I'm sure it's good to go. Just make sure that you have everything you might need to keep the truck up and running for the long term. Now, let's get inside of this thing and see what we're dealing with, all right? First and foremost, keep your vehicle clean and organized so it's easier to get to what you need. Now, if you have a work truck, it might not be very clean. What do? Oh well, it's just what it is. So, one of the first things that I like to do is stock my console here with just some basics, okay? So we'll get in there, talk about that real quick. Okay, so I have a packable jacket here. For this season right now, it's rain, so rain jacket, but a lot of times that might be a winter jacket, and some of this stuff is gonna have redundancy in my get home bag, which is always in the vehicle as well. Now, I do rock some gloves. Now, this is just because they happen to be in my truck right now, but generally I would carry less than this. However, it is always good to have a way to protect your hands, especially if you have to work on the vehicle. You don't wanna have to wash your hands and deal with all the grease and everything else necessarily, okay? Let's see, what else do we have? Food rations, always a good thing to have in your vehicle. Some form of calories to keep you moving if you need to, okay? Then we're gonna move down here. We've got a headlamp, which honestly is extremely useful. So if you ever have to work on your vehicle in the middle of the night, a headlamp lets you have hands-free light, and it's very important to be able to do so. So I always have a headlamp in my vehicles. Awesome thing to have. Then in order to keep that thing up and running, just a pack of batteries. These are just basic batteries that'll do the job, but whatever. This should get me through pretty well, at least for a while. Throw that over here. Let's see, okay. Extra magazine for my CCW. Extra ammo for my CCW, or some other items, which we might see here in a little bit. Some more extra ammo. I know it's ridiculous, but you just Never know what you're gonna run into. And some more extra carry ammo just to make sure, yeah, look at that price for 2021. Extra carry ammo just to make sure you're good to go for your CCW. And as you can tell, I did switch carry ammo after that last little mishap. And if you haven't seen it, well, if you know, you know. Anyway, Tylenol. Or, well, rip off Tylenol. But painkillers of some kind, you know, aspirin goes a long ways, especially in any kind of an SHTF event. And being able to access it quickly, you've got a headache or something, you're on the road for a long period of time and you need to keep going. Sometimes this can help, especially with aches and pains while you're stuck in a seat for a long time. So just something to keep in mind and something always good to have. I do always carry ear pro because I'm generally ready to rock at the range, and if I don't have my range bag with me for some reason, then I like to at least have the ability to still go and get something done, you know? Just in case, you never know. Okay, this is an extra strap for my RMP, which is my Grayman Tactical Rigid Molly panel, and you guys will see that here soon. But this is in case something else fails on the panel, so I can utilize that. And then chapstick. Sometimes you gotta have cotton candy, sometimes you gotta have regular. Either way, chapstick's always good to have. I need it regularly out here in negative 30 degrees, but it's also good for other utilitarian uses, like being able to start fires or being able to lubricate any tools you might have. Very good stuff to have. Chapstick's always a good way to go. Now, there's a lot of room in here, and I do carry nail trimmers. It's good to be able to trim your nails, but it's also good for a lot of other things, like, I don't know, fishing line or something along those lines. But as you can see, there's still a lot of space in here. So I could definitely put more food, I could definitely store more water or whatever it might be, but this is just what I'm rolling around with right now, and I want you guys to kind of just see my thought process and kind of see how this all works, okay? So now we're gonna move to the back seat of the truck where things are gonna get a little bit more interesting. Okay, let's go ahead and bust it open. And as you can see, the good old get home bag, always ready to roll, always in my vehicle, and very important to have. So always have your get home bag, and honestly, the get home bag covers a lot of the bases. All the survival stuff you need is in this get home bag. The water filters, the food, the ability to make fire, the shelter, additional paracord, everything is inside of this bag. So once you have a get home bag that's really well set up and ready to go, I mean, even my battery chargers and stuff like that are in here. You have a lot more than most people. So a get home bag gets your bug out vehicle really far. And obviously if you're in a straight up long-term bug out scenario, that get home bag would be replaced with my bug out bag very quickly. But they're just about the same when it comes to utility. It's just the amount and quantity that each carries and a little bit of, you know, which one's better for hiking with long period of time. But the get home bag does a lot. Make sure you have a fully stocked get home bag. There's a video on my channel of me showing you guys what's in this get home bag. If you want to check that out, I will link it in the little screen up here. One thing I wanted to mention is something I keep in my vehicle, and it's something that everyone who concealed carry should probably have, is an additional handgun safe, which I keep under my seat right here. And this is a Hornady safe, and this one will fit like a P365 no problem, but it would also fit up to like a Glock 19 very easily. And I do have it locked here with a cable so that it can't necessarily be taken very easily. So the whole point is deterrent, and it's in order to follow the law in certain areas where maybe you have to travel with your handgun locked in a container or whatever it might be. Having a safe, even just to keep valuables in, especially during SHTF, could be very important, and this just helps keep people from being able to access things that you don't want them to have. So another thing to consider having in your vehicle, some kind of a safe device. All right, so let's get into this side now. And there is the awesome Grayman Tactical RMP. But real quick, I just want to mention, make sure you have your basics, guys. You got to have your jumper cables, your jack, and you got to have your tire iron and your whole setup for getting to your spare tire ready to go. If you guys don't even have these basic items in your vehicle, then you're way far behind. Make sure you can change a flat tire and make sure you can jump a dead battery, because both of those scenarios are 125,000% more likely to happen than an actual SHTF event. So just keep that in mind. Wanted to make a quick mention of that. And this is the RMP panel, and it has the cover on it right now. This is an awesome piece of gear for a bug out vehicle because it lets you organize your gear, conquer your gear, and make sure that everything's ready to rock and in an arm's reach if need be during an emergency situation. So right now the panel cover's on because Grayman, right? You don't want everybody to be able to look in your window and see exactly what you have going on in your vehicle. And of course your loadout's not going to be like this on a daily basis, but this gives you at least some concealment and deterrent from somebody trying to break in just to find out what may or may not be underneath there. But the best part about what this thing is what's underneath it. So let me show you real quick here. And the RMP stands for Rigid Molly Panel. And you'll see exactly why it's called that here in just a second. Boom. there it is, fully stocked, ready to rock. Lots of different configurations, and everything on it is MOLLE adaptable. So what's really cool is this thing is super modular and lets you set up your bug out vehicle in a way that's very space saving while also having a full loadout ready to go if need be. So what we have here is we have these quick fist clamps, which are awesome. This is their rifle rack system. So basically you get a clamp up here, it's rubberized and it has different levels of tightness, and you can use this part to actually hook into a buffer tube. So right now I've got the Kel-Tec Sub 2000 on there, but would easily fit an AR-15, it fits an AR-10, it even fits an M1A with the stock or the factory stock on it, which is actually really cool. This would be where your hand placement would be on the shoulder stock. And then down here, you have the larger clamp, which is designed for your hand guards, your rail sections, or, you know, like I said, even an M1A hand guard would fit in there no problem. So I've had some good luck with that. As long as you have like a 16-inch barrel or less, this thing seems to work really well. I think it's more designed maybe for AR pistols and stuff like that, but you can see here that the 16-inch barrel on the Kel-Tec is no issue. You have plenty of clearance still on the floor here, and it holds the rifle in really securely. It's not going anywhere, okay? And this thing is held on with these D-ring systems up here, and then down here in the bottom corner we have another attachment point, which we have the same style attachment point over here on this side as well. We have another quick fist system right here in order to hold a fire extinguisher. So you're ready to go in case there's a fire in your vehicle, outside of your vehicle, or a fire in general somewhere that you have to deal with. I think this is an awesome addition to any bug out vehicle. Make sure you have a way to put out fire. And then over here, we have these awesome little straps right here, the shock loops, which are ready to go for smaller applications. So I chose to use these for road flares, which obviously this is still a bug out vehicle. So yeah, we have the awesome rifle right here. Yeah, we have the fire extinguisher, and yeah, we have the road flares. This is an emergency kit. This is a panel ready to go. And in the sense of an emergency, we also have our Cub Pro first aid kit from Bear Independent or Refuge Medical, which is another awesome thing that fits right on this panel. So I have a full-on blowout kit ready to rock in case something happens and I'm near my vehicle, in my vehicle, or I have my vehicle with me. Another excellent reason to add a rigid MOLLE panel to your vehicle. And don't forget, magazines. Now, any MOLLE capable magazine pouches will work on this, which I think is super awesome. And as you can see here, I've got pistol mags ready to go. And then I've got AR-10 mags as well as M1A mags. And that's just usually how I like to roll is, you know, with my 308. However, I got the Kel-Tec right now, so I got some Glock 17 mags in here, and they're awesome and ready to rock. They do make me sad though because they are empty, but we're trying to do this in a safe way, and I will show you here in just a second that the Kel-Tec is also unloaded and safe and ready to go. So, how does this work with the rifle rack system? Well, you come over here, and all you gotta do is pull on the tab, and you're released, and then come down here and do the same thing. Pull on the tab, released. Rifle comes out, you're ready to rock. And as you can see, there's no magazine inside. And I'll show you guys that it is safe here in just a second if I can figure out a good way to do this one-handed, which I can. Rifle is safe, unloaded, nothing in it. So we're doing everything like a good boy should. Anyway, this system is awesome for being able to organize your stuff and just get on top of it and have things ready to rock. So for any bug out vehicle, this thing works in a car, an SUV, and yeah, it might kind of make a difference on how big your vehicle is as to what size firearm will fit in the rifle rack system, but you gotta check out Gray Man Tactical. They have awesome other accessories for these panels. They even have locking rifle rack systems where no one could even steal your rifle if you locked it up properly. And even if you're in a state that requires laws that say you have to have a locked up rifle to be in your vehicle, that might do the trick. It just depends on your laws, but that's something you have to look into and check yourself. Either way, awesome system for a bug out SHTF vehicle, because that's what we're talking about here. Do I roll around town with a rifle strapped to the backseat of my passenger side truck seat? No, and the way I said that was terrible, but you understand what I mean. I don't roll around town with a rifle like this constantly, of course not. But when it comes to bugging out and when it comes to SHTF, is this a good system to have and be able to utilize and keep things out of the way while still being able to have more storage for things that are more important like water and food? Of course it is. And do I have enough room in my back seat to still put the back seat down and then have, I don't know, you know, if you're me, a car seat sitting in there? Yes, I do. And does this still get everything out of the way to the point where it's still usable? Yes. So this is an awesome system. I wanted to bring it to you guys' attention. GrayManTactical.com, awesome website, and the guys over there are super cool. I appreciate them sending me this to check out and hang out with for a while before I brought it to your attention, but it is a viable piece of gear for any bug out vehicle. Now, real quick, Give me 1 second here. All right, so now real quick, we're gonna go ahead and do the back of the truck, the bed of the truck. Now, like I said, it's not stocked full of food or any crazy stuff like that, but what it does have going on is gear and equipment you might need during a bug out situation for your vehicle. So we'll check that out here right this second. All right, so now let's get into the meat and potatoes of the back of the bug out vehicle or the truck. Now these are things you could easily have in the trunk of your car or the back of your SUV as well. One thing I will say, if you do have a tow package on your vehicle, make sure you have a hitch ready to go. You never know when you might be able to use that to be pulled out of a bad situation or pull someone else out of a bad situation. So if you're bugging out, make sure you have your tow hitch with you. You never know when it might come in handy, okay? Another thing is to make sure your spare tire is ready to rock and has good tread and is inflated and ready to go and accessible, because you know a lot of people tend to load a ton of stuff in the trunk of their car, which in a bug out situation might be unavoidable, but then can't get to the spare tire in their moment of need. So those are things you still want to consider. Even if you have a car, are you even able to get to your spare tire? Is it inflated, and is it capable of making it for the long run? And a lot of cars have those little donut spare tires, which can only go up to 55 miles an hour. Maybe getting a full-size tire even in your car, even though it takes up a lot of space, might be a good way to go, especially in a bug out situation. Even having one on a old crappy wheel that just sits in your garage and is ready to go to throw in the vehicle during an emergency might be a good idea. Now, tonneau cover. If you have a truck bed, get a tonneau cover of some kind. It allows you to have more storage. It has more protection from the elements. No, it's not waterproof, but it does add additional protection. This is a Lomax aluminum tonneau cover, which is really nice because it gives you a little bit more security. It's not as easy to break into as the fabric style tonneau covers, and it still gives you a low profile and eliminates the ability for prying eyes to see what's in the back of your truck. Just a suggestion I'm making, I do like this Lomax tonneau cover quite a bit. It is aluminum, it's not impermeable, but it is better than nothing, okay? So, let's open up the bed of the truck here, get this tonneau cover out of the way. All right, now, one thing you'll notice is the jerry can over here. And what's nice about that is having 5 extra gallons of gasoline ready to go at any time. And what's cool about these jerry cans is they usually come with some kind of a metal cage that you can install into the bed of your truck, which I did right here. And what's nice about that is that this thing is hard to take away. Nobody's gonna be able to steal this thing as easily as some other gas can you might just have in the back of your truck. So you have 5 gallons locked up and ready to go at any given time. So for any bug out vehicle, this is an important thing to have. And yes, it is installed into the bed because I want to make sure that somebody can't just steal my gas in a BOV bug out situation, which is where you want to be. Okay, and now I have some other items back here that we'll pull out. So I do use bungees and stuff like that to make sure things don't slide around all over the place, okay? So here's a bug out kit. And you can't go wrong with a rocket stove to make sure you can cook and boil water wherever you might be. Okay, so a rocket stove is always a good thing to have. It lets you boil water, cook food, and have a minimal footprint in the sense that it doesn't have much smoke compared to like a campfire. They're heavy, but they're great to have in a vehicle for that reason. The Minuteman rocket stove is a great choice. There's a lot of other good options out there as well. Just wanted to remind you guys about that. This is the big bug out vehicle kit to keep your vehicle running and to have some extra accessories for your vehicle in case something was to go wrong. You can see that this thing's pretty well stocked. So, extra tire iron, additional lug sizes. You never know if you're helping yourself or somebody else, but good thing to have. Then you want to have the ability to change your oil, right? So have an oil filter, at least one for your vehicle to get through the long-term SHTF. Have a way to take that filter off and put the new one on, aka oil filter wrench. And have enough oil for your vehicle with the right kind of oil. So make sure you get the right kind and the right amount that you need. For this vehicle, I need at least 2 of these 5-quart containers, and it's something that you have to find out exactly what your vehicle needs, but do your oil change, you know, in the sense of having at least one during an SHTF scenario could get you a lot further than where you could go otherwise. So maintenance is important. You want to make sure you have antifreeze as well. You never know when you're going to spring a leak or you need to make sure your vehicle's not overheating. Antifreeze, make sure you get the right kind. This is for Asian vehicles. There's other kinds out there. There's universal kinds. Just do your homework and find out what your vehicle needs, but have some antifreeze. 50-50 is what I have, so I don't have to add, you know, valuable drinking water to my antifreeze. But if you want to have more antifreeze, you can get the concentrated and have twice as much in the same size container. You just need to add water. So that's something to consider. Okay. Brake fluid. Power steering fluid, just have extra things. It's important to be able to top off your fluids. Here is the nozzle for the gas can, which I keep in here because this thing's relatively environmentally safe. It's not gonna let water in, it's not gonna be exposed to the elements thanks to the tonneau cover. So it's just a good place to keep some additional pieces of the other parts of your puzzle if need be, okay? So that's in there. Extra bungees, you never know what you're tying down or making a shelter or who knows what you're gonna use them for, but have extras. Then let's see, basic cheap socket wrench set. Important for being able to work on your vehicle, change your oil, or do any of the things that we just talked about, being able to, you know, maintain some viability of your vehicle's longevity during an SHTF scenario. So have a basic socket set, very important, okay? Let's see, additional tie downs. These are brand new, but they're gonna do the job if I need to tie stuff into the bed of the truck. And at the same time, I have other ones that are beat up and gross and have been used over and over again. So I leave these brand new ones here in the package in here just to maintain organization, and I'll only use them if I ever need them in that scenario, okay? Here is a tire pump that also has a liquid inside that can help you maintain a flat tire. So what this does is it fills your tire with this goo that basically fills any holes or anything like that up in the tire wall. So that way you can fill it with air thanks to this compressor, and then you can get back on the road that much faster in an emergency. So this is a good thing to have for an SHTF scenario. That make these and sell them in auto parts stores and at Walmarts and stuff like that. Get one of these because you can inflate just about anything with them, not just tires, but you can also get your flat back on the road in case of an emergency. And you never know what kind of situation trying to escape during SHTF, so keep that in mind. Tow strap. I don't have a winch, so have a way to get your vehicle towed by somebody else if need be. You might have to get pulled out of a ditch or pulled out of some snow or who knows what it is. And if you don't have a winch of some kind, at least have the ability to give somebody the tow strap that they might need in order to pull you out. So that's why I have a tow strap, because right now I don't have a winch. I think you should have a winch if you can get one, and I'm looking at getting one here down the road, but I just don't have one yet. So wanted to bring that to your attention. Another interesting part of the puzzle is additional spark plugs. I have had spark plugs go out on me in the middle of a road trip before. Not convenient, and they do go out every 75,000 miles or so. So make sure you have spark plugs and you can replace them, because these will kill your engine. It is something easy to replace and easy to have on hand, and they're not that expensive. Mine needs 8. Make sure you have the appropriate amount for your vehicle based on however many cylinders you have, and you need to have the tools to be able to change them. So a socket wrench, right, with an extension, and the specific socket for the spark plugs that has a rubber buffer inside that helps protect the spark plug head when you're installing them. So these are things you need in order to use your spark plugs. Very cheap, easy to acquire, and you know, if I need them, I have them now, okay? And let's see, one more thing, or a couple more things. Tire pressure gauge, additional caps, as well as valve stems. So if you do have a leak in your tire and it's just because of a bad valve stem, maybe that is an easy fix and you can get back on the road. So these are just little things I keep as well. And then a 6x8 tarp, because you can use this for a million things. You can cover your bed of your truck if your tonneau cover gets broken or lost, or who knows what happens to it. You can use it to build a shelter. You can use it for a million other things. So make sure you have a tonneau, or not a tonneau cover, a tarp in any bug out vehicle. Is your bug out vehicle SHTF ready? Hopefully this video helped you become better prepared and gave you some other ideas about ways you can set up your bug out vehicle. And of course, bugging out should never be your first priority, but it is part of your planning, because you never know when an emergency might make you evacuate. I hope this video helped give you some ideas about ways you can set up your vehicle better for a bug out situation. And if you have better ideas than some of the things that I showed you here, leave them in the comments below. Like I said, we didn't add water or food because that's going to take up a lot of space, and we all know that we're going to need a ton of that for any kind of an SHTF scenario. But for everything else, I try to be practical, things that I can have with me almost on a daily basis if need be, and being able to get wherever I need to go after an SHTF event for the long term if possible. You don't want to get too crazy and carry around extra parts like radiators and alternators and all kinds of other stuff like that, but you want to at least be able to maintain the vehicle you have, and hopefully you have a vehicle that's in good working condition. And I do suggest you try to find something in all-wheel drive or four-wheel drive at the minimum, just in case you find yourself in an environment you weren't at before, aka maybe you're in Florida, you've only needed two-wheel drive your entire life, you have to bug out, things start pushing you further and further north, next thing you know you're dealing with snow, and your little Honda Civic and two-wheel drive no longer operates very well in the winter. These are things to consider and to think about now while you can. And I do want to say thank you to Gray Man Tactical for making this video possible, and I really appreciate all the support here from every single one of you as well. Hopefully this gave you some ideas, but if it didn't, that's what happens, and that's going to be it for Magic Prepper.